Good morning. What's up, guys? Good morning. Good morning. Welcome. Can you guys hear me? Good morning. All right, cool. Hello. Can you hear me? Okay. Cool. Can you guys see my screen? I think people have pretty much stopped joining on Instagram and just staying on YouTube, which is good because it's better for the live stream. Good morning. Thank you for interpreting or explaining your interpretations of the order flow on Bookmap yesterday. Is very helpful. It makes it easier to really understand. Awesome. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm trading every day anyway, so I've been doing this to help share and educate people because I know there's really not a whole lot out there on reading and understanding order flow, and there's a million ways to do it. This is how I do it, and this is what works for me. I try to share some of my setups and the ways that I trade. So glad it's been really helpful. I'm doing this again because I got so much feedback from many people after the last week that I did this that it really helped them. So doing it again this week. Good morning, Richard. Good morning, Stelios. Morning, everybody. Thank you for joining in. Thanks for being here. I kind of did the live stream at the last minute and didn't set it up for people to join ahead of time. So I'm going to give it just a minute to let people join in, and we'll start looking through the analysis. I'm going to be a little more brief with the analysis today, but we have seen a little bit of a change, somewhat of a resolution to the Iran news, Iran war, whatever you want to call it. So market has been trading higher on that. You're welcome. Thanks for joining. Somebody asked, do you plan on trading while Powell is speaking or after? Probably after, but I'll watch it to see. I don't think it's a super major thing of Powell speaking. It's not like a rate decision commentary. So we'll see. It just depends on how price action is, I guess. If it's very erratic and unpredictable, I don't know if unpredictable is the right word, but just not tradable, then I will not. But I'll be watching it to see if there's good setups that develop. I think the primary thing going on now that we got to watch out for is any news related to tariffs and stuff that kind of deadlines is pending soon, that Trump kind of set for making some trade deals with a lot of our key trade partners around the world. So just from a news and global perspective, I guess things to watch out for is anything related to tariffs news. Oh, oops. Start the live stream. I didn't start the live stream on Instagram. Forgot how to trade when we're at all-time high. Can you go over that? Yeah, don't short it. I don't look for shorts trading all-time highs. Really, just wait for good pullbacks, wait for good opportunities to catch it. Typically, it's in the past, I see a lot of stair step up, elevator down price action, and I look for the elevators down as good times to buy, and then be patient and with the longs. I typically look to see like sharp aggressive pullbacks into key areas and then wait to find good longs. But we're still a little ways off from all-time highs, but I mean we've pretty much been doing that kind of price action for a while now. With how price has been just kind of grinding higher in this channel that I've been talking about. Channel slash wedge, a little bit. It's just kind of a, I guess it's more of a wedge technically, not an exact channel. But what would it look like if I actually drew this as a channel? Oh, that's not how I do it. I don't really use this channel drawing tool. Let me do this. No. I don't know, guys. Maybe do it this way. No. I don't know how to use this Thinkorswim channel drawing tool, but at any rate, we're kind of in this wedge here. Good morning, David. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. If we're going to do live signals as another source of income, people would love that. Low-key Carmine missing out. I don't think he's missing out. I think he's doing people a real solid because there's a lot of services out there that proclaim that, but I can just tell you, like you're not going to develop good trading skills doing that. And two, it's almost impossible for you to replicate someone else's performance. So yeah, he may be, missing out on some income from, selling a signal service, but he's doing people a real solid and teaching them really how to trade for real. But live trading like I'm doing here is not really meant to be as a signal service. And I know some people are going to probably try and copy my trades. Do that at your own risk. I don't recommend it. You're not going to be. I take losing trades. I have losing weeks from time to time, and so you're not going to be able to replicate my performance. And if you're hoping to just catch one or two nice wins to catch some windfalls off of me, that it's not going to be a winning strategy. And I 100% guarantee you, even if you make money doing that in the short term, you will lose it all in the long term. So I don't recommend that. Just use it as a learning tool to be in here, to watch someone trade live and kind of share their analysis and share their thought process and things like that. I think there is a lot of value in that. And I avoided doing this for a long time for the fact of, I don't want to encourage people to just try to trade like it's a signal service and copy my live stream trades. But nonetheless, I know there's a lot of training value in it and learning value in it. So for the people that are going to actually get learning value out of it, that's good. But no, I don't plan on doing a signal service ever. Maybe I'll formalize some live trading and stuff as a kind of more professional training service maybe in the future. But I just I don't believe it. I would feel like I'm just scamming new traders to try to sell them on a signal service when I know like long term they're not going to be successful doing that. And so yeah, I could make money doing that. I could make money doing that right now, but I make money from trading and I'm just sharing free value with people right now. Hopefully that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, same thing. Like I have very, very similar analysis to Carmine sometimes, and sometimes we take the same exact trades in the invest trade because he shares his. But I mean, that doesn't mean I'm copying his trades. I'm never looking to copy his trades. In fact, I look to completely tone out any anyone else's analysis or trades while I'm trading. Because I'm not at a point where I'm trying to learn a trading system right now. I'm trying to just focus on my own thing. I have my own system and way of doing things, and I'm trying to do that with as little noise from anyone else as I can have as far as influencing on my decision making in the market. Yeah, it is definitely more pressure. I just I've traded full time really and watched the charts for a long time while I worked remotely, and I was able to manage doing both, working in tech. But I've been doing just trading for a little while now, and there's definitely more pressure. And I've kind of been very slow to increase my size because of partially because of that. Like I am trying to just gradually grow and gradually build my position size that I trade with, so I'm not adding too much pressure. Yeah, keep working hard, Victor. I think that's how you say your name. Tell me if I'm wrong, but yeah. So I'll be a little bit more brief on the analysis this morning. I'll jump into it here in a minute, but people are asking a lot of good questions, so I have no problem taking a few minutes now to answer some questions. For those of you on Instagram, I'm live on YouTube. The link is in my bio on Instagram, and also posted a story with a link. Welcome to join in on YouTube, so you can see my screens that I share, and I'll stay on. I'll probably in the live stream on Instagram when the market opens and I go into trading, so it's just less distractions for me and more just to focus on what I'm doing here on my screens. Um, but I'll circle back to some questions. Let's get through my analysis this morning really quick, and then I'll circle back for any other questions at the end, and see how we go through here. But just looking at the 4-hour chart, I'm going to start probably here today. Well, we can take a glance at the daily really quick. You can see this channel, same thing that I've been talking about. We just briefly dipped under it and held above this double bottom on the breakout of that, or sorry, the break of that war news over the weekend. We dipped under there, and when we gapped down and just immediately recaptured and just absolutely shot up back into this channel, back into this wedge, closed at the highs, and then in the pre-market this morning, starting off, obviously we have a green day already as well. You can see, like, as soon as we dipped the low of this wedge, like within less than 24 hours, we're already back to the high of this. So this wedge continues to hold viciously. We'll see if we break out of this now with any kind of intensity to the upside. But right now, probably just looking for pullbacks within this, given all the buying energy that's come in. This is probably a lot of orders just came in, grabbed my attention. It's like an instant reflex when I see orders hit fast on Bookmap that grabs my attention. So yeah, obviously a lot of buying pressure. This is probably the quickest we've gone from bottom to top inside this channel after faking it out on the low end. But again, we do have the tariff news pressure coming up. We have some news coming out at 10 a.m. today, both Jay Powell speaking or testifying, and we also have the consumer confidence news coming out at 10 a.m. as well. So important to keep that in mind. Dropping down to the 4-hour time frame, really explosive move, really price preceding news of the end of that 12-day war with Iran and Israel, as it's being called. So we'll see if this holds, if we get any pullbacks into here. Let me zoom out a little bit and fix this view. So this is what I'm looking at here. We gapped down, and basically since the gap down immediately rallied all the way pretty much with one pullback yesterday to the top. Fortunately, I was able to catch shorts up here yesterday and rode it, down towards the middle of the range at least, and then was out before this really explosive rally. all the way through the afternoon, closed right near the high in the end of the afternoon, and then opened, continued rallying pretty much all night. And now, unfortunately, we've used all the gas to get to the top of this wedge overnight. And now we're kind of consolidating right at the top of the wedge here, right before the market opens at 9:30. So location wise, that's a little bit unfortunate. It's kind of annoying when these kind of moves happen overnight, and then it's kind of going into a consolidation right in the morning open. So we need to watch out for that this morning. I'd rather see a nice pullback where buyers look to defend it strongly around some of these key levels that I have marked here, which is, where buyers really drove price higher, that broke out. If you guys remember yesterday, I talked about this supply/resistance area, really where all these wicks are up here, especially between 60.60 to 60.80. Yesterday, I took shorts on the rejection under 60.60. Because of that, we're watching this kind of supply area. I caught shorts right up here around 60.55 after the rejection under 60.60. But late in the afternoon yesterday, you can see we clearly broke out of this resistance area up to the top of this wedge. So now what I'm looking for is if we do get any pullbacks into this prior resistance area, for it to now act as support. That's kind of the basis to a lot of my trading. It's just pretty basic technical analysis, support and resistance, supply and demand. And then, I look at trend lines a little bit, just kind of loosely. The most important thing for me is it's just areas of interest where I look at price action and order flow around. I'm going to go ahead and remove this now. You guys know what I'm talking about. You can clearly see all these wicks in this area on the 4-hour where this was prior resistance. It kind of formed a head and shoulders here on this and rejected back down. As soon as we broke under the low of this wedge on the news yesterday, on the market open Sunday night, we recaptured back above and have really gone just straight all the way to the top of the wedge. So important to watch this area around the top of this wedge. And then if we continue to break out of it, we can potentially look for a momentum long setup and just target, like this morning. If we're kind of consolidating here, let's look at this. If we're kind of consolidating here a little bit, I may look for something like this where we get a nice little bit of momentum here. If we can't even get a pullback under this little consolidation here, and I see a lot of pressure building from buyers and everything, I may look for a momentum breakout long setup and just not targeting anything crazy, just looking for a break again, another test breakout above the top of this wedge here. So if we're able to find something around, we'll get into the lower time frames, but this little, it's almost like a pressure cooker building here with this kind of consolidation into this pennant right at the top of this wedge. So I may be looking for this. I'm not going to short a break of this probably. If this breaks to the downside, I'll probably be just sitting out and waiting and looking to see if buyers step in down here. But if we see this build pressure, I see a lot of absorption, a lot of strength from buyers, and it's a good momentum setup, then I may look for this to kind of break out of this and take it long, just targeting a quick break out here above 61.40. What is this pre-market high here? I'm going to go ahead and mark this. 61.43 is that overnight high. And now we've kind of consolidated and pulled back into this pennant right here. It's just unnecessary noise. I'm going to go ahead and remove these trend lines now. You guys see what I'm talking about here. All right, so that's most the analysis, guys, right there, just on the 4-hour for the day. We've kind of already seen the same stuff we've been talking about here for weeks with this channel, this wedge, It's really more of a wedge. I should call it a wedge, but this area, um, we wicked the low of it. We're now consolidating at a high of it. You guys kind of know, the trend has been up. So primarily looking for sharp pullbacks to take long at key levels, especially now that we broke out of this prior resistance area where all these wicks were. So kind of a pretty simple and clear game plan today. Nothing too crazy. Again, we have that news coming out at 10 a.m. If I'm not able to catch this long and it just, steams up here and rallies, then I may just have to sit out today, because after this really pushes out to the upside, if I'm not able to get in before that, I don't really want to chase longs on a breakout, and I don't want to fade the strength either. So if I'm not able to find a way to get in ahead of time before the breakout, just from a risk versus reward perspective, not really going to like, getting in up here. And that may be unfortunate, because if we squeeze out it here and I don't see any good pullbacks or good opportunities to define risk and get in on the breakout, then it may just squeeze higher without me, and that's fine. I'll just have to trade another day. So let's drop down to the hourly time frame here. So looking at this here, we see pretty much the same thing. We had really aggressive rally up until 1800, so 6 p.m. last night. We had that large pump up here. This actually left an area of low volume that I'm watching between these levels here. So if you look at a volume profile on the day, you'll see this really aggressive pump on the market open, left an area of low volume. So I'm watching this area here between these key levels. And then, we continue to squeeze higher all the way until we made this high. And now we're kind of pulling back and holding. But clearly buyers are in control of the market. I'm not looking to fade them now. We failed to break down the low of this wedge. And yes, we're testing the top of this wedge. So you could argue, like, why not look for shorts up here? It just goes kind of against the higher time frame trend. We can clearly see the market is moving higher. One of these times, it's going to break out of this wedge significantly. So if it continues to test the highs, and make higher lows, higher highs. So just from a context perspective, I don't really like fading the highs up here, especially with the amount of strength that was shown yesterday. I'd rather just sit out and wait for good pullbacks to get long. So here's that same kind of consolidation that I was talking about here. This looks like an interesting level right here to watch. We kind of double bottomed off this 61.14.5. There was a lot of aggressive buying above this after we kind of consolidated here and then squeezed higher, and then we kind of had a sharp aggressive pullback here and then rallied, pulled back again. So kind of a double bottom right here. Just looking at the hourly time frame, right around 61.14.5. So that's a pretty important, I would say a medium important level to watch. It's not super significant, but it's a medium important level to watch. Especially would want to see that hold above in the scenario that I talked about, of if buyers have a lot of momentum in the opening range this morning and we see kind of an opening range breakout, some people call it, and we get in long as kind of a momentum play targeting these highs, then I would definitely really want to see price hold above that. Or if we get a small drop down here, I would want to see significant absorption, and just kind of a liquidity grab under this that rallies straight back up. If we break under here firmly, then and rallies fail under here, then I'll probably sit back and wait and see what happens if price moves lower to retest this prior resistance area that I'm now looking to see if it acts as support. Yeah, definitely. Just looking at the 15-minute, We had a really, really nice bit of momentum yesterday on that squeeze higher. Probably one of the most aggressive pumps higher I've seen in a while. Pretty much starting from the gap down, and then on this drop here, we took out liquidity under these lows, kind of similar to these lows here this morning, and then just rocketed all the way higher. But now you can see, other than this little pump here that started around 1:30 a.m., we kind of went sideways, pumped higher, went sideways. So kind of a lot of sideways consolidation here, actually, right at the high of this wedge. So need to sit back and watch this a little bit and see what happens. Because actually, looking at it the lower time frame on the 15-minute, other than a couple quick pumps here and here, we've seen a lot of pretty sideways consolidation here overnight. Couple minutes till the market opens. Remember, we got that news at 10 a.m. So going to stay patient this morning and just let this develop, unless, like I said, we see that scenario that I talked about, with kind of an aggressive momentum setup here off the open. But we'll see how it develops. It's looking, actually, just looking at Bookmap, it's looking pretty choppy. So far this morning, a lot of up and down, which we can see clearly here, even on the 15-minute candle chart. A lot of chop here this morning. So let's see. And this kind of chop, maybe we will see that scenario where we kind of dip down here, fake out the lows, take liquidity, and then shoot back up. A lot of wickiness looking on the 30-minute also. Yeah, look at that. Pretty wicky looking. So, oh, wrong screen, this one. A lot of wickiness down here. All right. Any questions on that? I'll switch over the screens to Bookmap so we can watch the order flow. I'll try to answer any questions as the market opens here. And we'll watch this order flow together on Bookmap and see how this kind of develops this morning. What about Child 4 p.m.? Oh, you must be in a different time zone. Yeah, so 10 a.m. Eastern, New York Eastern time for me. Yeah, watching out. I said that initially early on this morning. 10 a.m. we have consumer confidence news coming out, and we also have Powell speaking. I wouldn't necessarily expect, right at 10 a.m. something crazy to occur. But just, well, we do actually, yeah, because we have that consumer confidence, but just that whole probably hour after 10 a.m., we got to watch out for any craziness that comes up because of Powell testifying, which could go on for a while. Not sure how long that will go on. So we did get that quick drop right off the open here down to that 61.14.5 level that I mentioned. Seeing a lot of buying on that quick drop down there. We'll see if sellers still have some juice though, and see if it drops anymore. I'm not a fan of jumping in trades like in the first a minute after the market opens. Like, it can work, but I don't know. It's just too 50-50 to me with just such a surge of orders coming in. And like I said, just based on how this is setting up, looking at the chart, we've kind of 1, 2, 3, and now fourth. This is like the fourth test of this level. There's kind of a lot of liquidity building up around there. I would probably rather see a dip under there as like a liquidity grab and see if I see a lot of absorption to take that long. I don't like this so much, just this quick test and not really getting below that 61.14 and instant bounce. Like it could work. I just would rather see a drop under it first, but it looks like it may just go ahead and work right now. And if this goes and squeezes out these highs now already without taking that out, then I don't like that setup as much. All right, guys, I'm gonna end the stream on Instagram. If anybody wants to continue watching, I recommend joining over on YouTube. The link is in my bio and on my story on Instagram. Sharing my screens there. So if you'd like to see that, recommend joining over on YouTube, where I'll stay on the live stream for the morning session. Peace. I got to make sure I keep this. I don't have this auto movement on because it doesn't really work too well with keeping it center screen for the stream with keeping it in the middle. So I'm sorry if it's bouncing around here. I'm doing my best to keep this kind of center screen for us. Yeah, it helps me out a ton. Thanks, that dude Warb. Appreciate that. Helps me out a ton if you guys just drop a like and share if you find value in this. I appreciate that. Really nothing else to gain out of this for me, just kind of trying to provide free value for people to join in and learn a little bit here in these streams. So I appreciate if you guys like and share it so it reaches more people, and appreciate it. Thank you all for being here. Continue to have more and more people joining into the streams, which is cool. Definitely means that people are learning and getting value out of it. So that's cool. Check the news here. So people always ask like what the news thing that I check is throughout the day, just to see if anything crazy comes out. It's this right here on X, First Squawk. Just posted it in the chat on this stream. That's where I kind of just have that pulled up throughout the day, just in case any crazy headlines come out. Typically, you'll see price move before even a headline pops up on there anyway. But just to be aware of what's going on, it's important to maybe stay out of a trade if something, you see something crazy happen and then it's related to something geopolitical or what have you in the news. Just want to see if there's some genuine price movement, buyers and sellers, or there's like a panic move because of a headline that came out, is really what I'm kind of differentiating. Not a ton of excitement and momentum here this morning, which is kind of not surprising because we've had this consolidation, into this pennant that I talked about in the pre-market since like 1 a.m. We had that nice run up around 1 a.m. And so since like 3 a.m., we've kind of just been pulling back and consolidating. So we're just right in that pennant that's formed right at the top of this wedge, just from a technical pattern perspective. And just kind of consolidating sideways. We're pending some news coming out at 10 a.m. So just important to keep that stuff in mind. Don't, burn up capital, getting chopped up, trying to take a trade right in the middle of a consolidation. And this action, which we can clearly see on Bookmap, is just a little lackluster. There's not like a good amount of momentum for like that breakout momentum to long into the highs. We did get a little bit of a pullback. We saw some aggressive buying down here, but really I would have rather seen, like, for that setup, I would have rather seen a break under that 14s level with a lot of aggressive selling to trap sellers down there and see large fund buyers absorbing. That is the setup that I would have been kind of looking for. We did drop down here and we saw just like a whole bunch of aggressive buying pop up, which is cool. It's bouncing price higher, but wasn't really comfortable getting in there with that in the first minute of the market being open. In fact, this is just more people that could be trapped here with this aggressive buying off the open if we pull back and sweep under this 14s. But like I said, if it shoots up and I see a good opportunity to be a part of it, then it's a day where I'm just kind of sitting out. These live streams have been insanely helpful. Thank you. I'm glad that it's helpful, and I appreciate the feedback. Lets me know, what I should continue to do or not. Thanks, Ricky. Thank you guys for being a part of this here. I see a lot of the same people popping up day in and day out. Same with the last week that I did this, about 2 weeks ago, where I was doing the live streams every day. I've seen a lot of the same people in every day in and day out, which is cool. Definitely, we got like a core group here of people that are kind of showing up. So I appreciate that, and definitely comment in the chat so I see you guys are here, and let me know what you're looking at and stuff like that. Slow morning. We're right in the middle of this consolidation. So, all right, Midnight Club. That was such a good game. Midnight Club. Anybody play that game back in the day? Midnight Club. I haven't played it in a long time. Mic is cutting off. Is anybody else hearing my mic cut out or no? A lot of other people saying the mic is fine, so. All right, yeah, so it may just be internet or something for somebody. Somebody said just refresh. Ahmad, second day here. Cool, man. Welcome. Dang, we've had this live stream going for 40 minutes already since the pre-market. It literally feels like we just got in here like 5 minutes ago. A little bit of a boring start here. Nothing too exciting on my end that I'm watching. It is grinding higher. There's definitely buyers factored in here. Really, since like the opening bell, it's been all buyers. Yeah, awesome. That is the goal. Somebody said, I appreciate these streams to take my own trades, but find value in the stream. That's the goal. So goal is to help educate and provide you another way of viewing the market and maybe see how to do analysis and find what works for you. Buyers are definitely running this thing up. There's just, I don't really see any point up here to get involved with us with risk that makes sense. Like, where would I'm not just buying in up here. Um, I could have longed this down here. I just didn't love it as my setups go. It's just one of those things where the market's moving, but doesn't necessarily mean you have a setup to be a part of it based on how you trade. Awesome. Carlos going to join the Invest Trade Academy at the beginning of July. Good. See you in there, man. Got long pretty early at 61.20. Already break even because I don't like the volume. Yeah, it's a little bit low. 20 is a pretty good entry. I assume your risk was down here, probably under like 16 at least. So like 4 points of risk. You're kind of up 2R on the trade already up here at the 28.30. So yeah, definitely I would be going break even if I were in that trade. But do what you do according to your system. Victor asked what academy. I'm a member in the Invest to Trade Academy. I share a lot in there, my game plans and things like that. And that's really the place that I recommend to people learn from. I think there's a wait list right now to get in there. So here, let me send the link. I don't get anything out of this. I'm just sharing because I'm in there and people ask. I don't have a course. I do, free training, free teaching on my trading recaps that I post on Instagram and stuff. And I post a lot of trading tips and stuff in my story. And then I do these live streams and I'm working on making longer format videos, but I don't have any formalized like trading course. So if you want to learn that, the only thing that I really recommend for people is the Invest to Trade group / course and stuff in there. Just because that's the only thing that I have personal experience that I recommend and point people towards. And, Carmine's a good dude, good information, post in there, and Dylan as well. So, that's where I just point people to that. Let me find the link here. Yeah, I don't get anything out of that. I'm just, not just sharing for information. Not currently. I think there is some live education coming soon. They do live weekly calls and reviewing stuff. There, I just sent the link over for you guys if anyone's interested. Yeah, he does. Carmine and Dylan do post like their live commentary in the chat throughout the day in Discord. So, but again, it's a place to learn how to trade and not service. So. Yeah, we're hovering right around the top of the consolidation range from this pre-market this morning. Kind of trickling our way up higher. Not seeing a lot of significant volume or anything that makes me want to get involved. And this is typically, so this is a good point to bring up. Like, market tends to go through different periods. It's either expanding in a direction or consolidating, expanding, consolidating. And so you have to understand like where the market is at right now. And we just expanded a good bit yesterday from the lows when we took out the lows at 59.92 up till now. So we're trading 140 points. Well, actually, if you consider the rally from that started with the gap down yesterday at the low at 59.59 up to 61.30. So what is that? 140, 100, like 170 points higher in less than 24 hours, or just about 24 hours. Yeah, so we've pumped 170 plus points now in a very short amount of time. So it's totally reasonable to expect this to kind of slow down and cool off up here. Yeah, just had to double check my mental math calculator. 170 points higher from the gap down on Sunday, and it's Tuesday morning. So pump the brakes a little bit and just kind of see what happens here. It's totally a reasonable expectation that after such a move, we would see the market slow down and go sideways. We're testing this resistance area at the top of this wedge. You know, you don't want to be a typical retail trader just jumping in longs because the market's moving higher, like with no defined risk. We've already gone 170 points higher, and it's only Tuesday morning. So chill. I would rather, it would be more healthy in my opinion to see this thing pull back a little bit, consolidate, pull back, and find a good quality area to get long for the next leg up. But right now we've really aggressively moved higher, just straight up. Basically, yesterday we had a nice dip that took out liquidity at the lows and then rallied higher. So that was a good drop and bounce higher. But since that drop yesterday, it's been almost straight up and grinding higher. So totally normal and expected to see a consolidation like this now this morning. A lot of positive delta at the high. Yes, there is. Just had a 329 lot at 61.30 and then 251 lot at 29.75 positive delta. That could be trapped buyers at the high, so we got to watch out for that. If there's a passive seller, it could be someone that wants to see the market go lower, seller up here at the top of this wedge, or it could just be, you know, people that took longs taking profit. So got to keep that in mind. VX is super weak. It's broken down. So one thing yesterday, despite the rally yesterday, VX was pretty resilient and holding above 20. It really held higher lows all day until like after 3 p.m. or after the close yesterday, after 4 p.m. And then it broke down. But really throughout the day yesterday, despite the market going higher, yes, it rallied and failed and came back to the lows, but it really didn't break down the lows while the market was rallying yesterday until overnight. VX is super weak. It's broken down. So just that's extra pressure taken off the indices. So when we do get pullbacks, they're more likely to get bought. I have somewhat of a key level on VX around 1904. We're trading at 19.6 right now. So if we get a little bit more of a pullback on VX, then maybe, you know, buyers look to step in there, which will put a little bit of pressure on ES to maybe make a little pullback. We'll see. Pretty sharp little pullback here. And that's why I just don't like getting involved when I see this kind of smaller buying kind of grinding up, not really any super key level pullbacks, just a lot of aggressive buying right off the open. You know, you're kind of vulnerable to this type of thing happening at any moment. And again, hard for me to define risk when you just buy it up, buy it up, buy it up. I'm just looking at the VX/VX on Thinkorswim. It's the continuous contract. So more selling coming in now. We're just 8 minutes away. And as somebody noted, we did have that good bit of buying absorption at the highs. That could have been a short signal, but like I said, from a context perspective with everything, I'm just not really looking to fade this or take shorts up here, even though it could work and it could be a trade. So I hope you guys see kind of how I do my analysis is kind of a combination of technical analysis. It's a combination of kind of market context, developing the story of what's happening in the market, what makes sense from a probability standpoint, where people may get trapped, and things like that, and then actual trade execution based on price action and order flow. Can you see the footprint chart? I think a lot less people probably have the footprint chart, and a lot more people are always interested in Bookmap. And if I have one, I always recommend people to Bookmap. But I can switch over for a moment if you guys want to see the footprint chart. Hang on. I can only share one. So I typically, and I get asked this all the time, if I had to choose one, like which would I look at, the Bookmap or the footprint chart? And I always recommend Bookmap. I can see things really clearly. I can see a lot of information with resting orders on the heat map, the order flow, the pace of the market. Like I can see so much good information visualized on Bookmap. So that's really like what I like to teach from. So there's different things that I look at for the order flow. It's the pace of the market, like so how fast up and down is price moving based like kind of relative to the size of the orders that are coming in, which can vary depending on volatility. So you have to have a feel for it. I also like to see like where resting orders are, which I can just quickly see like on the heat map. And then I also like to see the size of delta between buyers and sellers, which I can see in the red and green bubbles. And I can also see that very clearly on the footprint chart at very specific prices. So it's very much the same information, but just the visualization of so many different pieces of information is so good and so clear on Bookmap. That's why I always recommend people, like, if I just had to choose one, then I would just choose Bookmap. And so a lot of people don't have the screen real estate or the budget to pay the costs and everything, losing data and everything, to have both, especially if you're still working towards being a consistently profitable trader. So that's what I generally point people towards. All right, so I think it's unanimous for Bookmap or heavy percentage, but I will switch over my screens really quick just to show you the difference in what I'm talking about. So up here, we saw this absorption hit right where this resting order was. So we see the resting order, we see the large green bubbles that failed to move price higher, and then the drop lower. I'll show you what the same thing looks like on the footprint chart. Where is it? I don't even see it popping up in my screens to share. Hang on, which screen is this called? Give me a second. So we see that quick pump higher up here. And we see this is where I said, okay, we have 329 lots here, 251 lots here. But I don't see the heat map. I do see the volume profile over here. And I see the cumulative volume delta here at the bottom. And then I see it by specific price up here. So it's just a better visualization. If I had to choose one on Bookmap, we see this pump up here. We see these trapped buyers right here at the highs, and then we drop down and we see all this negative delta. But the difference is, see all this negative delta on these lows, price is continuing to move lower. The difference up here was we saw this positive delta of trapped buyers and it just stalled and it didn't move higher. And in fact, it pulled back, and on the pullback, we started seeing negative delta. So as negative delta is increasing on the drop, price is continuing to move lower. That's a good sign sellers are going to keep moving lower. But as we moved higher and we saw the positive delta and then it decreased, which we can see more clearly on Bookmap, and slowed down, again, talking about the pace of the market. So we kind of trapped those buyers up there, and then these aggressive sellers are being rewarded so far because price is driving lower. All right, let me get back over here so I can focus on Trump. And this is kind of the same thing, which you can clearly see. We got up here, we filled these and trapped, and then see how the buying bubble got smaller. You can just see it more granular on Bookmap, but I do like to see both. And then we can see as these larger red bubbles are popping in, price is driving lower, which means, you know, they're in control. Trapped these buyers, large buying stopped moving higher and slowed down, aggressive selling, larger aggressive selling as moving lower. And now we just took out the opening lows under that 14 level. Yes, 1 minute news warning. Thanks for that reminder. And clearly, guys, like I said this morning, I wasn't comfortable getting in this long, even though it did work out up to here, but this could have happened at any time. There was just all this aggressive buying, didn't really see anybody trapped or in pain. And obviously we've come down and took them out now. So it just wasn't a great entry point for me. And this is why. So news coming out now. And then another thing to keep in mind is, like, this is going to kind of be ongoing with testifying. So if he says any crazy shit, which, you know, may or may not happen, I don't know, we'll see. Just important to be aware of. Just looking at, so we did dip under that 14 level. This is what I was talking about for a potential long setup. If we did sweep under that 14 and price bounces aggressively, we did see that, but it's right on news right now, which makes it not so appealing for me to get involved with, which is just unfortunate. But, you know, this may just keep driving lower here and trap buyers at this. We just don't know yet. It's hard to gamble into it with news going on. There could be large orders that, you know, drive price up or down quickly, kind of randomly. So whenever things are just a random and gambly, then I look to just sit out and wait. Somebody got in longs at 15. Yeah, I mean, it certainly could work. It looked like we had this, this sweep under it. That was what I was wanting to see. And then we see aggressive buying. So again, that is kind of like what I wanted to see, the sweep under that, and then aggressive buying stepping in. It's just the factor of that the news is right now that makes it like so 50-50 to me. So I'm just going to stand by and sit out. Notice how like right here before news, like everything on the heat map just disappeared. People pulled their orders. It's another good way to visualize when the tape gets thin, all these resting orders on the heat map, like right before the news, just a couple minutes just got pulled. Because if something crazy happens, nobody wants to get filled on an order like that. How's Carmine? He's off social media. I don't know. I don't babysit him. He's posting. Let me pull up the Discord. I think he's been busy lately with lots of stuff. I don't know. I don't talk to him every day. I think he's just been busy. I think there's a lot of new stuff coming for InvestiTrade that he's been working on. He just put out a lot of new content for the course. So if you are in InvestiTrade Academy, he's just posted a bunch of new course content to teach you guys. So recommend checking that out. So that's probably what he's been working on, filming and editing and all that kind of stuff for the new sections he just added to his course in there. Yeah, he said he's going on vacation too. I think he also did several podcasts recently. So good bit of buying here. This selling really failed under this 14. So I am kind of watching this now that the news is kind of settling down. But I am keeping in mind, no, I'm not listening to the testify thing. So I'm keeping that in mind, like some things could come out with that at any moment. And that's kind of making me a little trigger shy, if I'm being honest, guys, with the potential for that any kind of impulsive move to come out that could easily sweep my stop loss with that testimony going on. And I don't even put it on because like even if he said some shit that would cause a market reaction, the market's like just there's a delay in the stream and everything. The market's already going to react. It's going to happen before I can even react to it myself by the time that information gets to me. So it's not even gonna help me manage a trade because if he says some stuff, it's already going to happen before I'm even able to process it and react to it. Yeah, JV. No, I wasn't busting your chops. I was just messing around. He's been working on some stuff. If you're not in there, I'm not sure if he posted on there publicly, but he's working on he posted a bunch of new course stuff. So he's on in there. I guess I don't really see, I'm not on social media so much as far as like looking at people's stuff. So I'm not sure if he's been more silent on there or not. I think he's posted on Investitrade on the Instagram. I have seen that actually. So he's posting stuff on there. But yeah, if you are on the group, there's some new courses stuff that he just put together. Yeah, I'm on X as well. I post primarily on Instagram. I'm trying to get better about posting on everything, but I'm on Matto and Trades on X, on Instagram, on YouTube, on TikTok. I just personally like for short form content, I like Instagram the best, but I do like X, especially for like news source and information and stuff like that. So I may get better about being in the habit of posting stuff on X, maybe write-ups and things like that, because I think it's a better platform for text, not so much like video short form content. So maybe I'll post like text write-ups and Scott's. Would you guys read that kind of stuff? Like if I post write-ups and pictures and stuff of things on X, is that something that you guys would actually be interested in seeing as well? I just don't want to like waste my time if people aren't interested in seeing that stuff anyway. Do I have a plan to start your own Discord or paid service? Nothing hard right now. I'm just kind of focused on giving people free value and sharing what I'm doing anyway. Okay, so a lot of people are interested in that. So maybe I'll post more write-ups and things like that on X. So it's Matto and Trades on X. I share stuff on the Discord as well. Yeah, so maybe I'll just screenshot. Whoa, see, that's the kind of craziness that I'm talking about. Like, liking this for a pullback to get long. Just because I like these trap sellers down here, aggressive buying coming in. But this is why I'm trigger shy, guys, because obviously JP just said something and so, maybe I like to get in on that impulsive drop. We'll see what happens here. But I'm not seeing a ton of aggressive buying, just this quick drop here. I do like that though. That is the sweep of really that consolidation lows that I was looking for to take a long. So let's see if we get some aggressive buying now and see if we get a pullback into this and see if this was really large passive buying, because obviously a lot of panic selling just came in based on something that Powell just said, and a lot of passive buyers were ready to take it immediately. Like passive buyers were just waiting for the moment here that some panic selling came in, because as soon as that came in, look at these large aggressive selling immediately absorbed. So let's see if we pull back now into this and see if we continue to see that. And if so, we'll see if there's a good point that I want to get involved long. Looks like Trump's attention has shifted towards, the economic bill that's getting passed and things of that nature. Tariffs and economic stuff. All right. Just kind of going dead and flat, not dead and flat, but just a kind of a small reaction here. I'd like to see volatility increase, a nice little pullback, really aggressive buying, start stepping in to get involved. And it's just really slow like this, then it's just hard for me to get involved. I want to see volatility kind of increase here, a bit of a pullback, aggressive buying start to step in. So somebody said Powell has not even spoken yet. Good to know. If you guys are watching, I'm not I'm not watching it, but if you guys are watching it, let me know when Powell actually starts speaking. Oh, he just started speaking now. Okay. So a lot of people tried to jump in short ahead of him speaking, I guess, and sell. He's going to say, "Good morning," rocket ship. No, we'll see how this reacts. Like I kind of expect it to not be as big of a reaction as like um, his speech after like an FOMC rate decision, where they really kind of break that information down. Bring back the 24 price action. Yeah, it's definitely anytime the market goes through a change where there's kind of change in market structure, dynamics, what's the driving factors. Like last year was a whole lot of like stuff around AI, stuff around microchips and what are they called? That were driving factors. It was just pretty easy to read. This it's a little more tricky and difficult and up and down now. So for everyone that was just buying longs, buying longs, buying longs all last year, was pretty easy trading. And now this year we've kind of transitioned to a little bit more dynamic, a little bit more difficult trading action. Semiconductors, yeah. I don't know why I drew a blank on semiconductors. Yeah, that was a major driving factor last year. Semiconductors, AI, and just a whole lot of hype. The market traded straight up last year. Just pretty much throw a dart and buy longs last year, and you were in the green. And I'm not hating on that. It was fantastic when you find something that's working for a good period of time like that, and it just keeps working. Keep running it, man. Keep freaking running it. But you just got to be aware when things change and dynamics shift, so you don't keep trying the same thing. It's definitely a game of constant adjustments trading. Yes, on Bookmap, green bubbles mean aggressive buyers, red bubbles mean aggressive sellers. So like on this dip here, we see a lot of aggressive sellers, but price quickly dipped and recaptured back up. So what does that mean? Aggressive sellers were selling to a larger passive buyer, because passive buyers absorbed all of this. And then you can see there was nobody really left to sell. You see how the bubbles got smaller and smaller down here, and then we bounced back up. So a passive buyer pretty much took out everyone that was wanting to aggressively sell. There was nobody left to sell, so buyers stepped in and it started moving back up. I want to get in long here. I just don't have a good spot to define my risk, and the volatility really kind of after that instant like aggressive move, it just kind of went flat again. And so I wanted to see volatility stay higher and see a nice little pullback and see this get defended again. I could jump in long here. I do want to, but I just don't feel comfortable about the location of where I would have to define my risk, maybe at least under 15. And I'd rather see a nice pullback into where these sellers got trapped and then look to see if there's still a passive buyer there absorbing them and if aggressive buying steps in now. Like this could work up here. I could take this long. I'm not really vibing with the pace of the market right now. And I'm not really vibing with the risk versus reward up here. So even if something looks good, I still got to be selective and like even if I like want to get involved, I think the market's going to go up. I still got to see good risk versus reward opportunity and good confirmations at the good level that I want to be at. I'm not, it could move without me now, and that's just how it is. Powell ended his talking. So nothing crazy happened, I guess. That's pretty brief. But here, the real thing is when he starts probably taking questions is, depending on what he gets asked about specific stuff, that probably influences future rate decisions. I'm guessing that would just be my guess. And I'm assuming there is also going to be a lot of pressure put on him to lower rates by the politicians. They're going to want to pressure him to lower rates. They want rates lower so they can refinance the US debt. And then on the flip side, he's probably going to push back and say some things. So who knows? This was a nice dip to get involved long. It's just unfortunate it happened so fast, and then he's kind of speaking, and then these little pullbacks here were not quite enough. I wanted to see a bit more of a pullback into where these sellers got trapped here. Didn't get it, and it's just continued to squeeze higher, and now buying is increasing up here. I like it. I want to get involved with it. It's just from a risk reward perspective, really I would want my risk to be under these trap sellers here around 12, 11, or like anywhere around here. Let me just draw a box on this so we're clear about what I'm talking about. So this whole impulsive move right here that we'll ignore the little bitty buying or little bitty selling at the bottom, but this impulsive move here that trapped all these sellers, and then right at the top of this box where this bounced, even getting involved here, this would have been okay, I guess. 16, I could have gotten here and put my risk down here under 11, so like a 5-point risk. But I would need at least 10 points, and the volatility was so low and slow right here. I honestly didn't have a good feeling about getting a 10-point reward. I wanted to see another like impulsive drop down here. And you see this spot on the heat map right at 15. I was kind of looking to see if that got filled. This is a large bid here, or a little bit larger bid here. And so I wanted to see if we had another little impulsive drop that kind of filled that. And I'm still watching that. If another impulsive drop down into here and this fills, and I see a second time a lot of absorption and aggressive buying coming in, then maybe I will take it long at that point. But this right here was the only like opportunity from my perspective to get in. And because price action was so slow and got just kind of iffy, and 5 points is kind of like the upper end of what I like to risk. So it just was like not so A+ that I would have put on 5 points of risk. And yeah, I could reduce my size, I guess, to like one contract, but it worked this time, but doesn't mean it's a great setup, exactly great setup every time. And also like the iffiness of like Powell just started speaking here. We had this wick on a candle chart, and we saw all of this large aggressive selling got filled by a passive buyer. We bounced. Like that is what I like to see right here. It's just the amount of this move down where I'd have to put my risk here, 5 or 6 points. And then on top of that, Powell just started speaking, and this got really slow here. It was just, it felt like at any moment it could shoot back down here. And if we would have got another impulsive drop here and I saw the absorption again, I would have taken it long, but we just didn't. So hopefully that explains for anyone wondering why I didn't take it right there. It was just a little too 50-50 iffy, and I wanted to see one more quick little drop into here, especially like right around here where this passive buyer is with this bid. I wanted to see another quick impulsive drop into where these sellers were, and we just barely dipped it. And I didn't click buy right here, and then by the time I even considered it a possibility, we were already kind of trading up here, and where I was definitely like not going to chase that. How many times that level has been tested? So I like how we tested that level so many times, and then we swept it out. Let me show you on the candle chart what this looks like. So this is what I was talking about in the pre-market is we had 1, almost 2, 3, 4, somewhat 5 times right around here where we tested that. And so what's under here? Stop losses, stop losses, stop losses. And then when we had that really impulsive drop that wicked back up, that's the sweep that I really wanted to see under all of that at this key area where I wanted to see it potentially support. And we got it, but it just happened so fast. And then by the time it was up here, my risk was just too high for me to get involved with it. And really, guys, yes, it's working, but this is really slow and grindy. Like it's not really good volatility that makes me really want to be involved with it. So, but this is why I didn't buy it on this, because we came down here, we didn't really fully take out these lows, and then I saw a lot of aggressive buying here. And like I said earlier in the stream, I would want to see a lot of aggressive selling down here, trap buyers to really let me know that large passive buyers, like larger funds, are getting involved here. And that is what we saw right here. I just didn't really find a great entry on it that I got a part of it. But that's why I avoided this morning. If we would have saw this morning down here and then, we pulled back into it, that would have been A+. I would have been all over that, but we didn't. And then we kind of wicked out on it right on the news. And then, by the time there was a decent opportunity to get involved with it, the risk versus reward was not super great. So hope that makes sense for you guys. Full like breakdown of what I was watching there and why I chose not to get in it. I wanted to get in it. I really did. I wanted to trade, but I'm not going to chase it up here with that much risk. And it was just a little too iffy here with the news going on. And, like I said, I wanted to see a little bit more of a drop into here where I see this absorption again, see aggressive buying stepping in again, and then I would have taken it, but just didn't. But look at all this buying, a ton of aggressive buying coming in, and it's just kind of slowly pressing up here. Ideally, like if I was paying a little bit more attention on this sweep here, I would have gotten involved like down here and very minimal risk, but I didn't. Entered at 13 on a pullback with a 5-point stop targeting 1 to 2 risk reward setup. That entry was triggered by a green candle close on Sierra chart footprint. Red Delta seller. Yeah, I mean, great entry. Can't argue with that. Great entry. Yeah, I mean, if I would have got in around 13, 14, I would have been happy to get in there. So here's another quick drop coming in. Just looking at the candle chart, there's just a lot more excitement coming in on these pullbacks and not so much excitement on this rally. Just the size of the move. Looking at the 15-minute chart, guys, honestly, like close to calling it a day. Look at this. I mean, so from there to there, which that traded from like 3:30 a.m. to 5:30 a.m. Like we're just stuck in that block right there of consolidation. Nothing too exciting on my end. Is anybody seeing anything different than the analysis that I've shared? I'm curious, like from a technical analysis perspective, anything you're looking for, watching out for, let me know. Let me know. But just from my perspective here, like we tested the top of this wedge up here, and now we've pulled back. We're holding kind of this consolidation and rally here. We're holding right at the lows of that. But we're also just like right in the middle of this just block of up and down, up and down, up and down. I mean, that it's certainly building to where it could go break out, and this was a great entry to like be in and positioned for this to go break out the high of this consolidation now. I didn't catch it, and there's not a lot of good volatility now for me. If we pull back down here again into this box that I talked about on Bookmap, that's kind of what I'm watching for right now. If we get another impulsive drop with a lot of large absorption again, that's what I'm watching for right now. But if you didn't get involved right here in this area between like, 13 to 16, 17, then it's definitely just a sit out and wait type of thing for me. It's potentially looking for a move into 61.28 to 30 where we trapped buyers for that move down, but volume is so dead, so I might also walk. Yeah. Just got to know when to protect capital and be conservative and when to get involved. Even if I got in down here, kind of ideal entry around 15, 16 here. Still, that would have been 5 or 6 points, and here we are 20 minutes later and still not quite up 2R on that. So there is a lot of buying up here. It's just not getting a real exciting run. And it's probably just due to the fact that we're right in the middle of this range. But if you're patient and you got in down here, then I would still be holding and just waiting for this to break out these highs. I just can't really get involved around it lower. After the spike and recover, I entered more a position trade because of the sweeping of the lows. Kind of risky, but because Powell is speaking, but the sweeping of the lows convinced me. Yeah, good trade. Yeah, it was risky. If I wasn't quite as trigger shy with Powell speaking, sometimes those things set up the best opportunity when people are standing by and something impulsive happens like that set up a great opportunity. And now people that are chasing and buying up here are just feeding profit to the people that bought down here, and this is not like a great risk reward opportunity here. But like I said earlier in the stream, somebody asked like how I look to trade like all-time high price action and stuff like that. It's a lot of looking for those really impulsive, quick drops like that, and then just getting kind of positioned for the ride higher, which can take a little longer. So kind of on a micro level, what we've seen. Yeah, 61.28, very close to that now. That's where we saw a lot of trapped buyers earlier. Yeah, good target probably for longs, or maybe if we go and break out above that, good way to judge if you should continue to hold. But yeah, if we would have just dropped a little bit more, after seeing this large sweep and absorption and bounce back up here, that was great. And we held right here at the top of that. If we would have just dropped a couple more points around 15, 14, I probably would have gotten in long on that. And we just did not pull back at all. And then, the longer I waited, the less and less appealing it got, to the point that I'm just not getting involved with it. Yeah, haven't had to adjust my range bar chart. Yeah, me either. I'm still sitting in the same thing, so that's how it's pretty flat. Pretty flat, pretty flat and sideways, which is really what I was watching out for, just given the overall context. Like I said, putting the pieces of the puzzle together, like since yesterday, we're already up 170 points from those lows. And then we're right at the top of that wedge on the higher time frame that I've been talking about, where we need to watch out. Not watch out, but just like it would be a great target. So totally normal and expected to see some sideways action up here. And really those impulsive drops are where I'd want to get involved and hold for, the break of those highs, rather than trying to long the break of those highs. But we'll see, maybe some news can come out. We'll get another impulsive drop, or just, with this slow grind, maybe we get another impulsive drop down into here that sets up a nice opportunity to get if at this point sellers try to drop this thing down, say we sweep all these late buyers and form a double bottom down here, and a lot of aggressive passive, large passive buyers step in a second time, and then we see aggressive buying, then that'd be a great A+ opportunity, in my opinion, for me. So if we rallied up once, if we sweep out all these late buyers, we come in and, passive buyers are still wanting to be involved in a big way down here. And then we see aggressive buying again getting involved, then, potentially a great setup still. We just got to wait and see what happens. What's not great is just chasing a move because you want to make money, even though it's not a trade that you should be in. That's a part of the way your system trades. Alejandro, FM into it, but not enough absorption for me. What does FM mean? I'm not sure what that means. Or is that your screen name? Oh, sorry. That's your screen name. Sorry. I thought that was part of the message. So what I have, work it out. Yeah, read the comment. Sorry, there's a lot. I just see a block of text over here, and I'm trying to watch price action too. So what I have market out is consolidation absorption from 61.14 to 21. Drew a rectangle on Bookmap and was looking for a move back into it, absorption, and then I would get in long. I got the move. Got the move. Yep. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was watching. Man, guys, pretty boring morning. I wish I could just press a button to make this more exciting for us. But, people always chase action in trading and don't make money consistently. They just make a little money, lose a lot of money. And that's why. It's just got to be very patient. Like trading can be pretty boring, a lot like hunting and fishing. A lot of times it's just a whole lot of doing nothing and being patient and just waiting for that one little bit of opportunity, that one moment where you strike. The more patient and boring trading becomes, the more money you will probably make and keep. Keep being the important aspect. All right, let's see if I missed any comments from anybody. It seems like a good number of people spotted that on here and got in longs down here. So nice trade for you guys. I was a little bit slower to react on it, and we didn't get a pullback into it to the point where I wanted to get involved. Just risk versus reward ratio was just not as great for me. And then that just continued to be the case as we higher up here. NFQ says, I only trade low volume nodes, so today is brutal. Yeah. When you look at the volume profile on the day, it's just a sideways block of high volume. Just know there's a little bit of a low volume area right around 30 to 29 up there, right where we touched on those passive buyers, and then we dipped into a little bit of a low volume area around that 13s, and it bounced straight back up back in. So there's just brief little opportunities there where it kind of touched an area of lower volume and then shot right back towards the middle both times. What I'm focusing on here is just waiting for a range from where absorption is present, a breakout or a drop out of the range, and a retest and try to see if the same side fins move. Yeah. If I had to choose between Footprint or Bookmap, which tool would I pick? I just talked about this a bunch this morning, and I showed both. I get asked this like almost daily. Maybe I'll make a video on it, but I really like Bookmap. I recommend going back and rewatching the stream if you missed where I was talking about it. But if I had to choose one, I would choose Bookmap. TLDR, I just like all the information you can see. I like, you can see rest orders on the heat map, see the pace of the market, you get the size of orders coming in and how it's moving the market. Just see a lot of good information visualized really well in one easy place. But I do like to complement that with seeing specific orders at specific prices on the footprint chart. But if I had to choose one, I would definitely choose Bookmap. But yeah, actually, if you go back and rewatch the recording, when I post it later, I literally broke down this price action up here around 9:45 when we made this top, and I showed and compared the differences on the footprint chart and on Bookmap. And I pulled up the screen on both, so you can go back and rewatch that when I post the recording later. Or if you can go back on this live stream, I don't know. I don't think it lets you go back on the live stream right now, but I will post a recording and you can go back and watch it later. And I broke down this price action up here and the difference watching it on Bookmap, and then I pulled up on the footprint chart and saw the same thing. And you can see, I like how you can see it more granularly on Bookmap and you can adjust it easily. Sometimes if price is really spending a bit of time in a certain area, you can't really see that granularity on the footprint chart because it's just kind of building price in a specific area. But like we came up here, we filled all these resting ask orders, and then buying got weaker, and then we saw that aggressive selling start to come in, and I showed how that looked on the footprint chart and on Bookmap. I do like to see both. If I had to pick one, I would choose Bookmap. Yeah, this is a nice trade for those that caught it down there where we saw that large absorption on that sweep under 15, under 14 and a half. I've been calling out that setup all morning since the open. I've been saying, I'm looking for that sweep under 14 and a half where we had that quadruple bottom. And it did happen. I just didn't get an entry to be a part of it. By the time I was interested, it just didn't give me a pullback where risk versus reward made sense for me to get in. How do I use the magenta and green absorption delta numbers on Bookmap to get information to enter a trade? For example, if you see the absorption at the top. So yeah, that's just an indicator I have to bring my attention to when large orders occur, especially if I kind of missed it, like if I was looking away and I look back. I don't specifically use that to enter and exit trades off of, but it is interesting activity. And I do like that absorption indicator on Bookmap. I've talked about that in past streams before. I'll briefly mention it again. I have it set in the automatic setting. Actually, let me try to do something so you guys can see my whole screen instead of just this Bookmap app. That's screen one. So I'm going to take down this stream really quick, and then I'm going to put it back up, and I'm going to try to do my whole screen so you guys can see what I see on that whole screen. There. Is that better? I think that's better. So this is what I'm looking at on this whole screen. I don't know why I've not done that before, but I think that's a lot better than just sharing the app. I thought I would, okay, yeah. I thought it would be better just with the app zoomed in so you can see a little bit better, but actually I think I was exactly wrong and this is much better. Derp. So yeah, so I'm looking at the DOM over here at the same time, looking at Bookmap over here. And this kind of shows me the same information as well that I can see on the footprint chart, and I can see it right here. Yeah, and this is way better because now the whole heat map is in view, and my picture in the bottom of the screen is only blocking out some of the DOM. So that looks a lot better. Why don't you trade off Bookmap with AMP instead of Sierra if you like it more? Because I like to have both up. I could do that, and I do have Bookmap connected to some of my personal accounts. So I have a couple different trading accounts. But my primary one right now is Sierra. And I just like executing right off there. But I do have this set up with, I think, my Trade-Avate account, and I can send orders through there right on the DOM here, but I have it turned off right now. Oh, so this is why I was doing this, is now I can show you the settings that I have here. And turns out this is actually much better. And you can see my settings for that absorption indicator. I just have it in the automatic mode. The time interval is 30 minutes. And this SD multiplier, this is the only thing I adjust based on volatility. If the absorption indicator is triggering too much at just random places all over the place because volatility is really high, I'll increase this. So it only triggers kind of when key things happen. But you can see on these lows, when it swept down here, it triggered off this absorption, which we can see here. So funny, absorption indicator, we can clearly see this was absorption. And so it triggered down there. So if I was looking away and didn't see how that price action reacted, I would see these, I would see these large bubbles, and I would see that the absorption indicator triggered down there, and I would make a mental note of it. But I don't specifically execute trades off that indicator. I want to make that very clear. I do not use that as like an entry signal. It's just a piece of context to bring my attention to orders at a specific place. So I don't want people pulling up that indicator and thinking I trade off that and then just, firing off trades when that triggers. Don't do that. It's just a tool information piece. Yes, Stelios. So for example, if you see green absorption at the top and there is no continuing further up, that would be an indication possible reversal. Yeah. Yes and no, because sometimes orders come in funny. So we can see the selling triggered up here. And we made a top up here and then dropped. But one thing that I do notice is when this quickly fires off like buy, sell, then I noticed that as interesting activity. And we can see down here that trigger, it was like green and then, pink, whatever, like buy, sell. When I see that happen, it's interesting to me. Like there's clearly like some kind of, I call it like almost algorithmic activity, like trading algorithms are hitting that when I see like a lot of quick buy, sell orders coming in like that. And I'll make a note of that. So that was another reason down here I wanted to see a little bit more of a drop. And you can see this resting order. Look look at this bid that popped up here. Where did that fall? Right there. So that was another thing that I was watching for, just a little bit more of a pullback into right around here to get long. We didn't get it, and it just kept squeezing up, and like I was so close to clicking buy here, and I was just waiting for a little bit more of a drop into here to take it for the risk reward that I wanted. Just didn't happen, and it just squeezed up, and then this was a nope. Like once it got up here, it's like, no, not chasing it. So this is a good indication example of the absorption indicator. We see that sweep down there. We see these triggering here, buy and then sell here. And then on top of that, I see this bid pop up here. That was like multiple things. Like I was watching, I was like, just give me a little pullback into here, see this bid get filled, and I'll take it long. And it just didn't. It just one of those times. I didn't really, this brief second, this only pulled back here for just a brief second. Like, look at that, 13, 14. So this was like a 1 second buy opportunity right here, not even a second. And then right here, 14, Not even. This was like half a second buying opportunity right here. And then it was bounced up here. So I was like, if you didn't click buy in that half a second time frame right there, it wasn't a good opportunity and we were up here and my risk would have been like 7 or 8 points, didn't want it, or 6 or 7 points. So like there was like a half second window here to click buy and I didn't. Was waiting for a little bit more drop into here, didn't get it, and it squeezed higher without me. How do I apply the DOM? I like this. Good questions today, guys. We're really deep diving into stuff. So looking at the DOM down here, two things that really stand out. One, on this drop down here, see this like volume tail that we left down here? That means there's just not a lot of activity down here at the lows, which means buyers and sellers are just not really participating down here. When I see that, there's a very good chance we're going to bounce higher. And then two, right here, this negative delta where, same thing I can see on the footprint chart, but I like to see it. I can see it now on, I can see it now just cumulative on the day. See how this negative delta right at the low popped up 480 lots now, has stacked up down here. And this is right at 1575. So we were so close. That's where I wanted to see price come and test, is right where we see all these trapped sellers. And we got to 1625. We were just a few ticks away from where I was going to click buy. Just a few ticks away. 1475, 15, right where that delta is, right where this bid was. We were just a couple ticks away from me clicking buy. And we just squeezed up. And there was only like a half second time window where price was right here. And I was just waiting for this to drop. And within half a second, it was back up here and I wasn't going to chase it. So no, John B didn't catch it, but I was watching it and that's, I did not catch it. Is the stream frozen for anyone? Somebody said their stream is frozen. So somebody said you're good, you're good. Stream is good for me. So somebody might be having an internet connection. Does that break down the bubbles aren't moving because price is so freaking slow up here, guys. Oh shit. Price is so freaking slow. The bubbles are just stalled. Dude thought the stream was froze because price action is so damn slow up here. Yeah, no. It's just really, really slow, grindy price action today. But hopefully you guys got something out of this still. That was a pretty in-depth breakdown. Great questions from everybody. As far as exactly, like, we're looking at the DOM together here now. I like this better. I'm going to do this from now on, so share the whole screen so you guys can see all of Bookmap and see all of. If you guys appreciate this kind of breakdowns, please drop a like and share. I appreciate that. I think there's a lot of good information in here that's helpful to people that are really genuinely trying to learn and not just trying to copy trades. So despite us not taking any trades, I'm trying to make this beneficial for you guys. So just appreciate if you drop a like and share. But yeah, good information down here, exactly what I was seeing, exactly what I was watching for. Hopefully that makes sense to you guys about what I was watching, where, and why I was so close to clicking buy down here and just didn't get it. Just that was the setup that I was waiting for this morning. Like I said, since literally the pre-market, guys, I've been talking about, I was looking first for that sweep under 14.5 where we saw that quadruple bottom form. It happened right on news and we didn't get enough of a pullback. If I would have been really, really fast and sharp as soon as I saw this sweep down here and took it long here around 14, I wasn't paying enough attention when this happened to do it. But that I would have taken this if I was a little bit more zoned in and and I would have taken this around 13, 14 after seeing that sweep, but I didn't catch it, and I was looking for a pullback into it. We didn't get it, and so we're letting it go because I'm not chasing bad trades with bad risk versus reward. We're back up now, right where we saw those 28s, 29s absorption earlier. So two things I think are valuable today for anybody that joined late to go back and rewatch in the stream is one, I did a breakdown this morning right around 9:45 of this price action between Bookmap and the footprint chart and exactly what I saw on both and what I would look for a trade. And then we did like a really kind of in-depth Bookmap and DOM breakdown of exactly like what I look for and what I'm watching down here for a bottom reversal setup. So both things are probably worth rewatching. So around 9:45 a.m. did a breakdown of between Bookmap and the footprint chart there, and then just now around whatever time it is right now, 10:58, I did a full breakdown of exactly what I looked for on Bookmap, where I was looking to click buy. Just didn't get it today, but tried to give some value and show you guys exactly what I saw on the DOM, exactly what I saw on Bookmap, exactly where and why I was looking for that. Just didn't get the pullback to take it. And by the time it was trading up here where I could have clicked buy around 17, 18, 19, my risk would have been down here probably by like 11 or 12. So I'm not going to risk like 6, 7, 8 points to make. I would have only been targeting the highs. So like around 29 or 30. So my risk versus reward is like risking 7-ish points to make like 9-ish points. That's not great for me. Is the footprint and DOM same thing? No, I showed my footprint chart earlier. It's a lot of the same information. My footprint chart is like 5-point intervals of this information that you can see on here. So this is like almost like a footprint chart of like the full day is what the DOM is. The footprint chart is like breaking down like 5-point intervals for me of this information. Sudden sell came in. I'm not even paying attention at this point now, guys, just because of how slow it's been and it's getting late in the morning now. I wouldn't be looking to short this up here, guys, just based on the action that we saw on the lows. Just looking at the chart, the move is up right now. I'm not looking to catch a top on this. So yeah, even if I see some absorption and a quick sell, just contextually, technical analysis wise, everything like that, I'm not looking to fade this. And also from a risk versus reward perspective, I'm not really looking to buy up here. Maybe an impulsive drop like that down to 21 was a nice area to get by. Yeah, this would have been a nice buy, maybe down here and define risk under this and speculate a high of day breakout. I wasn't paying attention, but that maybe could have been a buy opportunity on that impulsive drop, absorption again, just to get in and speculate a high of day breakout above 29.30 and then targeting the highs of the highs of that wedge trend line is around 61.39, 61.40, and then that pre-market highs around 61.43. So, could possibly get in on an impulsive pullback like this if I'm wanting to speculate that we go and break out the highs now and go target 61.40 to 61.43. John B asked if I'm planning on making courses in the future. You would be interested in a mentorship? Yeah, I might do something in the future. We'll see. Might do something in the future. We'll see. But right now, Um, I'm just trying to help provide free value, and if you're looking to learn, I I forward and recommend people on to Invest a Trade. Carmine and Dylan do a great job teaching people in there. Um, so yeah, so some NFQ said you like how zoomed in I am. I generally keep my book map throughout the day around. See these time intervals down here at the bottom? I'm generally looking around like 2 minutes, and then I'll constantly changing it throughout the day to kind of get a picture of things. Um, but I would say the majority of the time intraday, I'm around 1, 2, or 5 minute intervals on the spacing down here. And then sometimes I intentionally drag it like this, and I don't use this uh, automatic thing because it can skew the view more. Like as price moves, this view can get skewed. So like sometimes I'll just constantly manually drag it just to keep it at the exact specific view that I want to see. You're the only one doing this from Investor Trade, I think, which I appreciate. Yeah, glad it's helpful for you. I don't personally know if anyone else that's doing like live streams and breaking order flow down like this for you guys. So maybe it's definitely not free. So it maybe is out there, but I don't know. I mean, I'm doing this stuff anyway all day. Like I said, I trade full time. So I'm just doing this to share with you guys since I'm, just sharing what I'm doing anyway. Thank you, Matt. You're the man for doing this, people. Thank you. Appreciate that. I'm glad it's helpful. Like I said, appreciate if you guys just drop a like and share. If it helps you, more people can join in. Somebody asks, watch. Thank you. How do I view the day's quality of trade setups? From a context perspective, like I like quality setup to be a lower time frame pullback within a higher time frame trend. Like obviously the trend higher time frame has been moving up, so I like to see pullbacks into key areas. Context also, VX is at the lows, it's trading lower, it's weak, so pressure is off. So more likely dips are going to get bought. So I try to align lower time frame trades with the trend. Or if the market is consolidating, then I'll look for fake outs of the consolidation and target back into the middle. So those are kind of things that I look for from a context perspective to make sure that my intraday analysis and trades are aligned in a way that I deem as higher quality. And then what was that question again? And then obviously I have confirmations that I shared some of. Most you guys have seen many, but I have many different ways I look at volume patterns and order flow to confirm trade setups. Maybe I'll break them all down someday. I have about, I think like I've said before, I have like around 9 different ways that I've documented and tested that I look for trades. I don't feel like, and then the other thing is volatility. How good is volatility? Price movement, which is a little bit subjective, and it depends on the trader. It depends on how they trade. I like a medium amount of volatility. So, I like to see a good amount of volatility, but not so insane. Like it was hard for me to trade when we were having those insane days where price was going up and down hundreds of points in a day, like a few months ago. But then it's also hard when price is just in a really tight consolidation and very, very slow, which is kind of what we're seeing today. There's a little bit of opportunity right at the lows. That was really the only good opportunity that I saw today. But now, I've already shown you. You can look at a 15-minute chart. We're trading inside the middle of the same range that traded between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. So when price action is this slow and choppy and we're like within a tight consolidation range that traded overnight, we're not really expanding, the only setups that I really like to see is like fake outs, especially to the opposite direction of higher time frame, which is what we saw on that sweep of the lows, where I can, get in and hold for targets at the highs. But you really got to get a feel for some sharp, aggressive buying just came in there. You really got to get a feel for the speed of the tape and order flow. And there's just nothing that replaces screen time and experience. And so you'll get a feel for what's high quality that works for you and what's not. So a couple little high a day punches here, high of the regular trading hours above 61.30 here. But nothing real exciting. We just swept it and kind of dropping back down a little bit. So, all right. Like I said, like this can work. You could take a short for like, since we're in a consolidation range, you could speculate maybe we're going to have a high a day sweep, take it short, but the overall market conditions being up on a higher time frame, and given that this high of day sweep is also inside the middle of the consolidation range that we had overnight. Like I said, between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., we're right in the middle of that range. So it's not really a great high of day sweep for me, in my opinion, to take short for two reasons. One, it's in the middle of the overnight range, and two, the higher time frame trend is up. Do you think to get good at trading, you must be somewhat good gambler? No, I don't think you have to be. I've never gambled in my life, so I don't really know anything about like casino gambling or anything. So I don't really know like what a good gambler is. But if you're comparing it to like a poker player, you definitely have to be the mindset of like a professional poker player where you're counting cards, the probabilities, the statistics, when to bet heavy when you have the probabilities and statistics in your favor, and when to, fold and walk away when it's not. So you have to know how to manage risk and manage probabilities, and understand that the short term outcome is random, but the long term outcome will have order and will have positive outcome and positive expectancy, based on your data and repeatability of the way that you're executing trades. How long did it take you to be consistently profitable? A few years. A few years. A few years of like a lot of thousands of hours of work, not just like a little bit of 30 minutes here, hour here type of thing, like all day, every day type of work. So I always tell people, like, if you're getting into trading and you want to make it, like, you need to have the workload mindset of like you're trying to be a professional athlete. Like you're putting in the thousands of hours of work and that you would expect like a professional athlete or a professional doctor or whatever is putting in. Like have that kind of mindset of going into it, not that you're gonna come in here and make money fast in a short period of time, because I guarantee you're going to get your lunch taken. That was a great deep answer on context. Thanks, Matt. Yeah, you're welcome. Hopefully it's good stuff in there. Yeah, I would really try to focus on one specific type of setup, especially initially, one specific type of setup, one specific ticker, and really narrow in on that, and then gradually expand from there. How did order flow influence your trading? I wasn't profitable without it, and it took a long time to get a feel for. What was I doing before? I honestly, when I really got serious about trading, was an invested trade a few years ago, and so I've really been doing order flow from the beginning. And before that, I was just looking at chart patterns and stuff like that, and I didn't really have consistent success. I was just looking at candle charts and chart patterns, and I tried doing the thing of following signals and some signal groups and stuff like that, and just lost a lot of money. Why did I start with order flow? Like I did a little bit of surface research on, things that like real professional traders on Wall Street do, and what I've seen. I try to cut through the noise of like so much BS online on like social media and YouTube and whatnot, and focus on like what real pros do. And I had been watching investor trade stuff for a while, and I got involved in there, and it made sense to me. And it was not easy. It's never sold as easy, and it's taken me years to learn. Not just learn, it's different between learning academically and really having such a feel and experience for it that really only comes with time, that you just are confident enough to actually execute it in the real world. Because it's different to understand something academically and actually be able to perform and do it real time. And it just comes with a lot of time and experience and practice and losses and learning. And the other big thing that I say all the time is really knowing your data, and TradeZella is great for that as well. There's lots of tools, but that's the one that I use. Being able to analyze your data to really have good metrics to understand what's working and what's not working and how you need to adjust, because it's impossible to just remember everything from day to day. Like, you really need to aggregate that data and really analyze it to tune what's working for you. Yes. Yeah. Somebody just asked, do you track your stats with TradeZella, and if you adjusted your trading based on that data? 100% yes. And that's why I have really fine tuned like the confirmations and the trade setups and the things that work, and over the years, just kind of forward testing in real time, as well as a bit of back testing, is just understanding like over time what works. And then I get a really good feel for the type of levels that I look at and the way that I analyze market structure, and then what type of setups I look that align with that market structure in that context, and then just focus on that and then ignore everything else. It's hard to backtest order flow, but um, Bookmap is probably the best way. And that's another reason why I recommend Bookmap. You can do some back data on footprint charts and things like that, but the data on Bookmap is so precise, and like if you record it and replay it and everything, like I have years and years of recorded data files from Bookmap, and I'm able to I can replay any day, and I can see exactly as I'm seeing it with you guys right now, like this. I can replay it in real time and see what happened and everything like that. I don't know of any other tool that you can back test and review. I call it back testing. I know some people with candle charts just look at like patterns and stuff like that, but like back testing to me is like, okay, go back and find price moves, revert, specifically for me, like reversals that occurred. Go back and pull up the data and watch what happened in real time. And if you do that enough times, you'll see repeating things that occur in order flow. Guarantee you, because I do it and I know it. So just do that again and again, and really understand the types of things that occur at different types of reversals in the market, and you will get a feel for it over time. So I'm curious to see how you came to the decision to quit your day job. I would maybe get another day job again, like, because I really only need a very small amount of time now. I'm at a point where I've learned so much about trading. I really only need a small time window where I can look for trades, and then if not, walk away. So I would maybe consider getting another remote tech job. I was in a very high paying tech job. And so that allowed me the freedom and flexibility to kind of just watch charts and stuff in the background while I was working. That's why I have a lot of screens. But I did contract work, and that came to an end. And so I just decided I'm just going to trade anyway. So, but maybe I will get another one, or I'll do something else, because it is nice to have, especially I'm not trading so big that I'm making millions of dollars, guys. Like, obviously you can see I trade a couple ES contracts. I make good money, but I'm not like just balling out of control with trading size. It takes time to build up to that. And I'm not trying to push the envelope too much, but it is really nice to have another consistent source of income. It really helps relieve pressure from trading and everything like that. Should do a Discord monthly payment. I'm sure many people would sign up. Yeah, maybe in the future I'll do some kind of training thing. But I do enjoy sharing with you guys, and that's why I'm doing this. Is one, it helps reinforce the things that I know, like teaching and sharing with other people kind of helps reinforce what I know and how I trade. And then also just I kind of enjoy helping people, and I know how hard it is and how hard I've worked for years to get to the point that I'm at now. And um, I can help shortcut a lot of the pains that I've gone through helping other people. But right now it's free, guys. So doing just free information sharing, doing these live streams, sharing recaps and stuff like that. So I appreciate everyone joining in here, and got a good group of people that are consistently showing up here, which is cool. David asked if I've taken any trades. I've not. It's a very boring day, but I've spent a lot of time today, probably more than any other live stream, really going through and teaching things and explaining things. A lot of people asked a lot of good questions. So I don't know. I feel like we've gone over a lot of stuff, and people have gotten probably a decent amount of information from this, despite us taking no trades today based on this price action. There's really one good opportunity that happened at the lows that I explained earlier. You can go back and watch it, rewatch the stream. But just quickly recapping, I drew this box down here, was waiting for a pullback into here. We didn't get it. We came just a few ticks away, just didn't get it. And I didn't pull the trigger on it, and it squeezed higher without me. All good. But this was the best setup of the day. This sweep of the lows here, I've been saying since the pre-market, that's what I was watching for. Just a few ticks away from me clicking buy, and it would have been a nice 10, 15 points now, but it's all good. That's just how it goes sometimes. We'll be back tomorrow. Yeah, so nice to chill. Hopefully no BS. I try to, even if this is dull and things like that, I try to share good information and not just BS, no reason information. So hopefully you guys get some solid training value out of this, despite lack of active trading today. $330 big drop setting up. I don't know. Anybody's guess? No, I know you didn't. Yeah, I know what you mean, NFQ. I know what you mean. I know you didn't mean BS, just a phrase, but I try to point out, like, even if there's not significant trading action going on, I try to make this valuable for people sticking around in here to see and get some genuine education and learning value out of being here. So it's not just a waste of people's time. 11:30 a.m. Victor's in a different time zone. He's way somewhere else. 11. So if you ever hear me talk about a time, one, I'm in US Eastern time zone, but two, that is the time frame of the market for me, especially the futures market, like New York time. So I'll always reference New York time. Even when I reference overnight price action, when I talk about like the London trading hours, I see where there's typically a little bit of higher volume between 2 a.m. and 5 a.m. is typically that I watch as like the London trading. You'll hear me talk about that in Eastern US time zone, which is like 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. Yeah, bros in Poland. That's cool though. I'm glad we have people coming in. Drop a comment like where you guys are coming from. I genuinely want to see where everybody's coming from. It's cool. Central Florida, South Florida. I lived in both. Well, some people don't call South Florida Central Florida, or some people don't call Tampa South Florida. To me, it's South Florida. I've grown up in Central Florida. I lived in South Florida and Tampa for years. I love Tampa. I don't know. Both have their pros and cons. Canada, UK, Boston, Chicago, but moving to Fort Lauderdale. Cool. DC, Tampa last month though. Sacramento, Missouri, Miami, Ecuador, Equator, the equator at the moment. It's hot here, dude. In Orlando, it's still hot. Montreal, California, all freaking over the place. New York, Omaha, Portugal, Halifax, Canada, pumpkin spice latte, Florida, Arizona. Visiting Tampa this fall, would probably end up moving there. Lincoln, Nebraska, I'm assuming. Cocoa, and Cocoa all the time. Going over the beach in Cocoa Beach. Got friends that live on the beach over there. New Zealand, Vancouver. Dang. Really all over the US and all over the world. So outside of the US a lot. So see London, Canada, a good amount of people from Canada. Portugal, Canada, New Zealand. Really, really cool to have this group of people here for this as we watch this breakout of the highs now. Up $600 today. Awesome. Good job, Laksh. Big block at 35. Yeah, it's just hard for me to chase it up here, guys. Just not enough like good momentum. We're coming into, the overnight highs. It would have been better to have been gotten in from the dips and leveraged and held for this breakout, but just how slow and grindy the price action has been, it's just not A+ for me to be longing up here on the breakout. When you see a sweep of the lows, do you wait for a reclaim of the level, higher lows to avoid timing or reversal with losses? Yeah, I don't just try to catch the very tippity tip of the bottom. I don't try to do that. That can be dangerous because who's to say this doesn't just keep sweeping down? I generally like to see absorption, aggressive buying, and then weak selling back into that to confirm that there is aggressive buyers and passive buyers. All right, guys, I think I'm going to wrap up the stream here. There's been a lot of good questions today, a lot of good learning value. I'm just probably going to wrap it up because the chances of me entering a trade now just based on the current location and price action is like almost zero. I've never traded spreads, no. Somebody asked if I've traded spreads. So like I said, just drop a like and share if you guys find value in that. I appreciate it. We'll be back tomorrow. I'll keep this stuff up, and if I do end up catching a trade, if something develops in the afternoon, I'm going to go away from the computer. I may check back in the sweet spot of the afternoon to see if anything develops, but I'm going to go away from the screens now. Just current location, current price action, there's like almost a 0% chance that I take a trade up here now. So hopefully it's been a good learning value for you guys. Strategy, mentality. Thanks, Matt. It's incredible to learn strategy and mentality. Hopefully it's valuable for everyone. Albeit a bit boring, but good trading is often boring, guys. So, yep. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you for joining in, and I will see you guys tomorrow at 9 a.m. We'll be back with the live streams again all week. Sweet. Thank you, guys. Appreciate everyone tuning in. Like I said, helps me out a ton. Just like and share. That's all I ask. I'll reach more people, and more people can learn and hear with us. So that's cool. We got a good group from all around the world and all around the United States in here, which is awesome. All right, thanks everyone. Hopefully we'll have a better price action tomorrow for a better setup. This was a good setup down here. We just didn't just missed the entry for me for the way I trade just ever so slightly. And I wasn't sharp enough to catch it down here before we bounced up here. So it's all good. We'll be back tomorrow. See you guys.